Things they don't tell you about living alone. As an older person, solitude is not the same as loneliness. When you're older, living alone can be a choice driven by independence, but it comes with challenges that no one talks about. Many imagine that living alone later in life is a serene experience, one where you're free to live on your own terms, without anyone to answer to. While this is partly true, there are realities that go unnoticed until you find yourself in that situation. There are things that aren't openly discussed, but become clear as you navigate the path of living alone. Here, we've gathered insights not just from personal experiences, but also from the stories of others who have walked this same road. It's not all difficult, but it is honest. Let's dive into the unspoken truths about living alone as an older person and discover how you can navigate this time in your life with wisdom and grace. 1. Being your own emergency backup. One reality of living alone as you age is understanding that you must be your own emergency backup. The independence that comes with solitude is empowering, but it also comes with the stark realization that you are your own safety net. There's no one immediately present to notice if something goes wrong. Countless stories have emerged of people who, after experiencing a fall or a medical emergency, weren't found for hours or even days. One cannot help but recall a tale shared on Reddit, where someone learned to carry their phone everywhere, even to the shower, after realizing that being alone means thinking ahead. Although this may seem drastic, it serves as a necessary reminder of how our safety measures must evolve with our circumstances. For those living in remote areas or without close neighbors, it's wise to consider technology like a smartwatch or a medical alert system. These devices act like a safety net, providing peace of mind by ensuring that help is just a button press away. As the Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." In the context of living alone, thinking ahead and preparing for emergencies not only makes you safer, but also shapes your sense of self-reliance and confidence. One woman on an online forum shared her experience of installing an emergency key lockbox outside her home. This allowed trusted friends or family access in case of an emergency without damaging her property. This small, thoughtful action gave her peace of mind, knowing that while she was alone, she wasn't isolated from help. Living alone in your later years is not about isolation. It's about preparation. Creating a space where you feel secure, even in unexpected moments, is key. Today's technology offers many ways to bridge the gap between independence and safety. It's no longer a question of being vulnerable while living alone. It's about taking advantage of the tools available to stay connected, proactive, and prepared. Preparation is the key to success, as Alexander Graham Bell once said. And never has this been more relevant than when living alone in your later years. Every step you take to safeguard yourself is not just an act of self-care, but a powerful statement of autonomy. Let this be a reminder to embrace these modern solutions as enhancements to your life, not as limitations. When you take the necessary precautions, you can continue living with confidence, ensuring that your independence remains intact, without the risk of being caught off guard by unforeseen events. 2. Routines become sacred. Living alone, especially as you get older, brings a profound sense of independence that becomes deeply tied to your daily routines. Over time, these routines evolve into something more than just habits. They become sacred. They provide structure, purpose, and comfort in the solitude of your own space. When there's no one else around to share the daily tasks or make spontaneous plans, your routine becomes your anchor. This isn't something to be seen as mundane or unimportant. On the contrary, it's a beautiful testament to your ability to create stability in your life, no matter what's happening around you. Think about it. Your morning coffee on the porch, your afternoon walks, or even your favorite TV show in the evening. These small, seemingly simple habits are what keep you grounded. A woman in her 70s shared how every morning she plays the same song while making breakfast. It's a small ritual, but for her, it fills her home with energy and makes the quiet mornings less lonely. It's not about the music. It's about the comfort it brings, a familiar rhythm to start her day. Similarly, an older gentleman talked about how watering his garden each evening wasn't just about caring for the plants. For him, it gave his day a sense of purpose, something to look forward to, a moment to reflect, breathe, and feel a sense of accomplishment. These routines are far more than just chores or tasks. They are your personal rituals, giving you control over your day, your life, and your emotions. Don't let anyone tell you that having a routine is a bad thing. In fact, embracing these routines can be an act of self-care. They are the quiet moments that make living alone a special experience, moments of peace and contentment that you've crafted for yourself. This reminds me of a Buddhist story about a monk who lived alone on a mountaintop. Each day, he would wake at dawn, sweep the courtyard, and meditate in the same spot. Visitors would sometimes ask him, "Why do you sweep every day if the mountain remains dusty?" His answer, "Because it brings me peace." Why meditate in the same place every day? When no one else comes here, why meditate in the same place every day? The monk would smile and reply, "It's not for others, it's for me. In these small acts, I find clarity and peace." Like the monk, your routine is not for anyone else. It's a practice that nurtures your well-being and keeps you grounded in your own presence. So what is something you do each day that brings you peace, even when no one else is around? Living alone doesn't mean being lonely. It means having the opportunity to shape your day, your home, and your world in a way that reflects your desires and values. The beauty of routines is that they allow you to create a sense of sanctuary, a rhythm that you control. As you embrace these rituals, you'll find they offer more than just structure. They provide a sense of peace, contentment, and even joy. So don't resist the routines that have naturally formed in your life. Instead, lean into them, refine them, and let them guide you through your days with grace. In the end, the lesson is clear. Your routine is your strength. It's a source of stability that you create for yourself, a way to keep your days meaningful and your heart full. By honoring the sacredness of your everyday moments, you embrace a profound truth, that peace and purpose can be found in the simplest of things. So what rituals in your life are you ready to embrace fully, and how will they bring you the peace you deserve? 3. Be intentional about physical activity. When you live alone, especially as you age, one of the most important things you need to be intentional about is staying physically active. Without a partner or housemate around to nudge you into action, it's easy to fall into the comfort of sitting too much, finding fewer reasons to get up and move. The truth is, living alone often means fewer built-in opportunities to be physically active, and it's something many older adults struggle with. Have you ever found yourself sitting longer than planned or realizing that you've skipped your daily walk for a few days in a row? It happens to many of us, and the consequences can creep in slowly, impacting both your body and mind. I remember reading about a man who shared how, after living alone for a while, his physical fitness began to decline. "I didn't realize how much less active I was until my body started to stiffen up," he said. His experience mirrors that of many people who live alone. When no one else is there to encourage you to get moving, it takes a lot more self-motivation to keep up with physical activity. Buddha once said, "To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our mind strong and clear." This rings true in every stage of life, but especially as we grow older. We can't expect our bodies to remain agile and flexible if we don't put in the effort to move. The key to maintaining your health while living alone is to be intentional about including physical activity in your daily routine, even if it starts small. Ask yourself, what simple changes could you make today to add more movement into your life? Maybe it's setting a goal to take a few extra steps around the house, or perhaps a light morning stretch becomes part of your wake-up ritual. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but it's important to find what works for you and stick with it. Some people find creative ways to stay active without it feeling like a chore. For instance, one woman shared that she got a dog specifically to motivate her to get outside and walk. She knew that having a furry companion depending on her would force her to stay consistent with her daily exercise. Can you think of ways to bring movement into your life in a way that feels natural or even fun? It doesn't have to be a trip to the gym or a strenuous workout session. It could be as simple as gardening in your backyard, dancing around your living room to your favorite songs, or even choosing to take the stairs instead of the elevator. These small, intentional movements can make a world of difference to your overall well-being. Remember, physical activity isn't just about keeping your body strong. It also has a profound impact on your mental health. Movement releases endorphins, the body's natural mood boosters, helping you feel more positive and mentally clear. So the next time you feel like sitting down for hours, pause and ask yourself, how can I bring a little more movement into my day? Maybe it's a short walk around the block or simply stretching your legs. The point is, by staying physically active, you're not just taking care of your body. You're also nurturing your mind and spirit, ensuring that your later years remain vibrant and fulfilling. If you've watched up to this point, you're already on the path to understanding the realities of living alone as an older person. Comment below with Independent Journey to affirm your commitment to embracing and thriving in this chapter of life. Don't go anywhere. There's still so much wisdom we want to share with you. In this video, stay until the end to uncover valuable tips that will help you live fully and independently. 4. Decluttering becomes both easier and harder. As we grow older and face the prospect of living alone, decluttering becomes both an easier and more difficult task. It's an activity that takes on new meaning because it's no longer just about organizing your home. It becomes a way to reconnect with your past while shaping your environment for your present and future self. On one hand, the freedom of living alone means you don't have to consult anyone on what to keep or let go of. The absence of negotiation might make the process smoother. However, the challenge arises when every object you touch seems to reflect a part of your life. Every photo album, every piece of furniture holds memories, and parting with them can feel like a personal loss, a closing chapter in your life's book. It's not just about things, it's about the emotions they evoke. As Buddha once said, the root of suffering is attachment. This couldn't be truer when it comes to decluttering, as our attachment to material objects often mirrors deeper connections to the past. I recall reading a story from an older woman who had lived by herself for years. She explained how she held on to items for sentimental reasons, even when she knew she didn't need them. "It's just me, so who does it hurt to hold on to these things?" she asked. But later, she reflected, "Do I really want to leave all this behind for someone else to sort through?" Her story resonates with many who face the dilemma of what to do with personal belongings that hold emotional value but no longer serve a purpose. In Buddhist philosophy, we are encouraged to let go of unnecessary attachments that weigh us down, not just in life, but in our homes as well. Yet letting go isn't always easy, and that's part of the journey, learning to release with compassion for oneself. In many online communities where older adults share their experiences, a recurring theme is the emotional weight of decluttering when you live alone. Every item, no matter how small, can feel like it carries the essence of your life's journey, and parting with it is akin to letting go of a piece of yourself. But there's also liberation in simplifying your surroundings. A man in his late 60s once shared that he decided to downsize his possessions to make his life more manageable for both himself and his family. It gave him peace of mind, knowing that his space reflected his current state of being, rather than being a museum of who he used to be. As Lao Tzu said, "To attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, subtract things every day." By decluttering, we're not just tidying our homes, we're making room for the present and the possibilities of tomorrow. Decluttering as an older adult isn't about chasing minimalism for the sake of trends. It's about creating a space that serves you, reflects your current self, and offers peace. It's about letting go of things that may have served you in the past, but no longer align with who you are today. That doesn't mean you should get rid of everything with emotional value. Keeping what brings you joy is important. However, freeing yourself from items that no longer serve a purpose can be just as valuable. Start small. Tackle one corner of your home at a time. Give yourself permission to feel the emotions that arise as you sort through your belongings. This is your home, your sanctuary, and you have the power to shape it to reflect who you are now. As you let go of what no longer serves you, you make space for the present moment, and with it, a new chapter of your life unfolds, lighter and filled with intention. 5. Self-care is easy to neglect, but crucial. Living alone, especially in later years, can lead to the quiet neglect of the most important person in your life, yourself. There's no one to remind you to take that shower or prepare a nutritious meal. It's easy to let things slide, whether it's small things like wearing the same clothes for days or skipping meals because who's going to notice? But the reality is, someone should notice, and that someone is you. One gentleman shared a story about his own experience. After years of living by himself, he found that his habits were slowly eroding. He'd skip meals, shower less often, and found himself spending entire days on the couch. His wake-up call came when he asked himself, if I were caring for someone else, would I let them live like this? He realized he deserved the same level of care and attention that he would give to a loved one. And that's a key point. It's easy to forget that even when you're living alone, you still deserve the same love and care. Self-care is more than just maintaining appearances or eating well. It's about nurturing your mind and spirit, keeping up with medical appointments, getting enough rest, and doing things that make you feel good, whether anyone is watching or not. One woman shared how she lights candles, puts on a face mask, and spends her evenings reading. It's a simple routine, but it gives her peace, warmth, and a sense of being cared for. It's not extravagant, but it's hers, and it helps her feel grounded and valued. In Buddhism, there's a beautiful story that speaks to this. Once, Buddha told his disciples about a man who had two possessions, a broken bowl and a small patch of land. The man loved his bowl and land dearly, yet he realized that taking care of them, though simple, gave him purpose and contentment. The man neglected both, thinking, "It's just me, why does it matter?" Over time, the bowl cracked further, and the land became barren. But one day, the man realized that if he didn't care for what he had, no one else would. So he mended the bowl, tilled his land, and with time, the land became fruitful again. The message is clear. Taking care of what you have, even if it's just yourself, is essential because it's an expression of respect and gratitude for life itself. When you live alone, it's easy to slip into the mindset that self-care is optional. But ask yourself this: if you were taking care of a dear friend, wouldn't you make sure they were eating well, sleeping properly, and doing things that made them happy? Why should you treat yourself any differently? Just because you're the only one living in your home doesn't mean you're any less deserving of care. Self-care can be simple. Get dressed in the morning, even if you're not leaving the house. Cook a meal you love, not just something convenient. Surround yourself with things that lift your spirit. Maybe it's a candlelit bath or a walk to reconnect with nature. At the heart of it all is the realization that self-care is not about indulgence. It's about survival. It's about honoring yourself as the most important person in your life. Living alone doesn't mean you have to live without joy, without routine, or without the simple pleasures that make life richer. And remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's essential. As you navigate this chapter of life, ask yourself, how can I show myself love today? By doing so, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And that's a gift you deserve to give yourself every day. 6. Create your own fun. One of the unexpected aspects of living alone as you get older is that social invitations can begin to decrease. It's not that the people in your life no longer care about you. Rather, as your friends and family members move through different phases of life, busy with their families, careers, or even relocating, you might find yourself less frequently included in group events. This is a common experience for many, and it's easy to feel disconnected or even isolated. As one woman wisely shared in a forum, "I used to sit by the phone waiting for it to ring, but now I know that if I want connection, I need to take the first step." This realization speaks to a profound truth that applies to many aspects of life. We must create the experiences we desire. As Buddha once said, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create." So instead of waiting for the world to invite you in, why not take charge and craft your own social life? Maybe it's as simple as calling up an old friend for coffee or organizing a small gathering at your home, whether it's for a casual chat, a book club, or a movie night. Think of it as an opportunity to design your social experiences exactly the way you want them. As you take the initiative, you may be surprised at how others will naturally follow your lead. One man in his 60s shared that he started a neighborhood walking group. Now, every Sunday, a small group gathers to explore different local trails together. He not only stayed active and healthy, but also found a new community through a shared love of nature. Can you imagine the joy of not only reconnecting with people, but also discovering new interests through these kinds of activities? The freedom that comes with living alone allows you to explore and cultivate the social connections that truly align with your passions. What would it look like for you to create a space for others? A space where joy and connection thrive. Whether it's a crafting night with a few friends, a weekly TV watch party, or even a casual game night, the possibilities are endless. Don't be afraid to reach out, because often others are feeling the same way and waiting for that spark of invitation. In doing so, you might be surprised by how much more vibrant and fulfilling your social life becomes. After all, thousands of candles can be lighted from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened, as Buddha once said. By reaching out, you not only bring warmth into your life, but into the lives of others as well. How will you create your own fun and forge deeper connections as you move forward in this new chapter of life? By watching up to this point, you've already started embracing the powerful benefits of living solo. Comment "Empowered Life" to show your readiness to make the most of this journey. Stay tuned for the rest of the video, as we're about to dive into more valuable advice that will help you live your best life alone. 7. Loneliness effects. Even introverts. Living alone as an older person can be both a source of freedom and a challenge, especially when it comes to facing loneliness. While many people assume that introverts thrive in solitude, even the most self-contained individuals can experience deep feelings of isolation as they age. What once might have been a welcome retreat from social obligations can start to feel like an empty silence, especially when close friends move away, retire, or pass on. A shrinking social circle can leave even the most content introvert longing for connection. In modern life, as the pace quickens and people become more transient, staying connected with others can feel increasingly difficult. An elderly gentleman shared in an online forum that there were days when he wouldn't speak to another person at all. He valued his independence, but he deeply missed the everyday conversations he used to have with a partner or roommate. Whether it was discussing the weather or simply deciding what to have for dinner, those interactions brought comfort. In Buddhism, there is a saying, "Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened." Happiness never decreases by being shared. This emphasizes the importance of connection and the joy it brings, even in small casual interactions. For some, the solution has been adopting a pet, a living companion that doesn't necessarily talk, but offers unconditional love and routine. A woman on the same forum mentioned how her cat had become a source of comfort. She said, "My cat might not talk, but he's always there when I come home, and that makes all the difference." This speaks to the powerful bond that can form between a person and a pet, providing a sense of responsibility and emotional support. Pets offer a kind of nonverbal companionship that helps fill the void, giving structure to the day and a reason to get up and keep moving forward. It's a simple reminder that we don't always need human conversation to feel connected. We just need to feel that someone or something depends on us. However, it's important to balance this solitude with intentional efforts to engage with the world. As the Dalai Lama once said, we can live without religion and meditation, but we cannot survive without human affection. Even if your friends or loved ones are fewer than before, making an effort to engage with your community, join social groups, or even volunteer, can help keep that sense of connection alive. The world may seem bigger and more isolating as we age, but reaching out, whether through phone calls, social media, or joining a local club, can help bridge that gap. It's about ensuring that you're not just living alone, but still living fully, with a heart open to both giving and receiving kindness, no matter your circumstances. In modern life, it's easy to get swept up in the noise and distractions of daily routines. However, taking moments to reflect on what truly matters, connection, kindness, and compassion, can offer deep fulfillment. It's not about filling every silence with chatter, but finding meaningful moments of connection however they may come, whether through a pet, a neighbor, or a newfound community. The key is to maintain that balance between solitude and connection. As we age, this balance becomes more important, reminding us that while we may be alone in our homes, we don't have to be lonely in our hearts. 8. Home maintenance can be overwhelming. One thing that few people openly discuss is how challenging home maintenance becomes as we age. The energy we once had to tackle tasks like cleaning the gutters, mowing the lawn, or even vacuuming seems to fade, and what was once routine can start to feel overwhelming. With each passing year, it becomes more of a struggle to keep up with these demands. I recall the story of an older woman who kept a running list of all the home projects she wanted to complete, from fixing small leaks to sprucing up the garden. Yet, despite her good intentions, many of these tasks remained unfinished. It wasn't because she didn't care about her home, but because the sheer volume of work was too much for her to handle alone. She'd put off one task, then another, and soon the list became a source of stress rather than accomplishment. This is a common experience for many older adults, and if you're feeling overwhelmed, know that you're not alone. It's essential to recognize when it's time to seek help, rather than push through exhaustion. Perhaps you could hire someone to help with the heavy-duty tasks, or ask family members or friends to lend a hand every now and then. If finances allow, consider the option of downsizing your living space. A smaller home means fewer maintenance responsibilities and ultimately more time to focus on the things that bring you joy. Here's a gentle question to ponder. What would life feel like if your home became a space of rest, not a place of endless tasks? Can you imagine the freedom that comes from letting go of unnecessary burdens? Let me share a Buddhist story that beautifully ties into this message. There once was a monk who carried a heavy bag on his shoulders as he traveled. When asked why he carried such a load, he explained that inside the bag were things he believed he needed, even though he hadn't used them in years. A wise elder monk suggested he set the bag down for just a moment and feel the lightness that followed. The monk hesitated, but eventually complied. As the weight left his body, he realized he had been carrying unnecessary burdens all along. In our own lives, whether it's tasks that pile up or the responsibility we feel to manage everything ourselves, we often carry more than we need to. The lesson here is simple. By letting go of what no longer serves us, we create space for what truly matters: peace, rest, and joy. Sometimes it's okay to let go. What burdens, both physical and mental, are you holding on to that might no longer serve you? In conclusion, there's a tremendous sense of peace that comes from recognizing your limits and allowing others to help you. Even making changes like downsizing to simplify your life can bring relief. There's no shame in seeking assistance or letting go of tasks that no longer serve your well-being. By doing so, you create room for what truly matters: your happiness, your health, and your peace of mind. Take a moment to reflect. What small step can you take today to make your home feel less like a task list and more like a sanctuary? The answers might surprise you. 9. your sense of time may shift. When you live alone, especially as you get older, one subtle change that often sneaks up on you is your shifting relationship with time. No one really prepares you for this, but without the rhythms of another person in the house, like a spouse, children, or even a roommate, you may find that time either stretches endlessly or slips by unnoticed. Some days, you might blink, and suddenly it's evening, while other days may feel like they drag on forever. As one man shared in an online forum, after retiring and losing his spouse, there were times he couldn't even remember what day it was, much less what time. Without external cues, such as a partner's work schedule or family obligations, it's easy for the structure of your day to dissolve into a fog of unmarked hours. But here's the good news. You are not at the mercy of this disorienting sense of time. You have the power to reshape and reclaim your daily rhythm. As Buddha once said, "The trouble is, you think you have time." This timeless wisdom reminds us that time is precious, and even when it feels like it's slipping through our fingers, we have the opportunity to mindfully engage with it. Ask yourself, how do you want to spend the minutes and hours of your life? Creating a loose schedule can help bring some structure back to your days. Perhaps you can designate specific days for regular tasks, like grocery shopping on Mondays, house cleaning on Thursdays, and a special self-care day on Sundays. By doing this, you create touch points in your week that give you a sense of purpose and routine. Hobbies can also serve as anchors in your life, pulling you towards specific moments that you can look forward to. Maybe you've always wanted to take up painting, gardening, or learning a musical instrument. These activities not only help fill the time, but make it meaningful. Consider attending a weekly class or scheduling time for activities you love, whether it's cooking a special dinner on the weekends or taking a daily walk in the afternoon. By creating these rituals, you can turn the monotony of time into something you enjoy, something that nourishes your spirit. Of course, living alone also offers a beautiful freedom. There is no one else's schedule you need to follow, no external demands that push you from one activity to the next. You get to decide what your days look like, and that's a gift. As the days go by, let yourself be mindful of time, but also relaxed in its flow. Living alone can be an opportunity to reconnect with yourself and redefine what your time means to you. So how do you want to shape your days? What will make you feel fulfilled as time moves forward? These are questions only you can answer, and they hold the key to not just passing the time, but living it deeply and fully. 10. Cooking for one can be tricky but rewarding. Cooking for yourself, as an older person living alone, can indeed feel like a challenge at times. Many of us grew accustomed to cooking for families or partners, and now, with no one to share the meal with, it might seem like too much effort to whip up a full dish just for one person. It's tempting to default to frozen meals, takeout, or other quick solutions that save time. But as one woman commented in a forum, learning to love cooking for yourself can change your perspective entirely. Cooking then becomes less of a task and more of an expression of self-care. This shift in mindset can transform your time in the kitchen into a meaningful part of your day. Think of it this way. When you cook for yourself, you are reminding yourself that you are worth the effort. As Buddha once said, "Your body is precious. It is your vehicle for awakening. Treat it with care." Preparing nourishing meals is one way to honor this. Rather than seeing cooking as a chore, consider it an opportunity to show kindness to yourself. By choosing to prepare your own meals, you are taking control of your health, your well-being, and your budget. Some people have found joy in batch cooking, where they prepare larger quantities of food on the weekends so that they have ready-to-eat meals for the rest of the week. This strategy not only saves time, but also ensures you're eating something nutritious, rather than relying on convenience foods that may not be as healthy. Moreover, treating cooking as a hobby, rather than something you have to do, opens the door for creativity. You don't have to be a master chef to enjoy experimenting with new recipes. Even simple meals can bring joy. When made with care, cooking can become something you look forward to. It's about finding pleasure in the process, slicing vegetables, seasoning a dish just right, or trying out a new sauce or spice. In the end, you're doing something valuable not just for your body but also for your mind. As the saying goes, health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth. And what better way to gift yourself than through food? Cooking for one doesn't have to be lonely either. In today's world, you have access to cooking videos, virtual cooking classes, and recipe-sharing communities online. You might find that cooking becomes a social experience, connecting with others who are in the same boat. Plus, it can be much more budget-friendly to prepare your own meals than relying on takeout. With a bit of planning and creativity, you can stretch your groceries much further while still eating well. So the next time you're tempted to reach for something quick and processed, ask yourself, what would make me feel good today? By taking the time to cook for yourself, you remind yourself of your value and enjoy the process of nurturing both your body and mind. What kind of meal will you create for yourself today? 11. The quiet can be both a blessing and a curse. Living alone as an older person often reveals truths that we might not have anticipated, one of the most unexpected being the power of silence. The quiet, often romanticized as a peaceful retreat, can turn out to be both a blessing and a curse. If you've spent decades in a bustling household or worked full-time surrounded by the constant hum of activity, the sudden shift into silence can feel overwhelming. It's the kind of stillness that catches you off guard, especially in the evenings when the world seems to slow down. For many, this can stir feelings of loneliness or even anxiety, as the silence amplifies the emptiness in ways you hadn't imagined. One older woman shared how she would turn on the radio while doing her chores, not necessarily to listen, but simply to fill the air with some form of noise. Another man mentioned that he plays podcasts throughout the day to simulate conversation, just to feel like there's someone around speaking to him, even if indirectly. This simple act of breaking the silence with background noise, whether it's music, audiobooks, or TV, can transform a house that feels empty into a space that feels lived in. But let me ask you, have you ever stopped to truly embrace the quiet? For some, the silence becomes an unexpected gift, a kind of sanctuary. If your life has been filled with the constant demands of others, family, work, or social obligations, this newfound quiet can be a space for deep reflection and personal recharge. As Buddha once said, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. Could it be that the stillness you fear is actually a rare opportunity for self-discovery? There is profound wisdom in the quiet when you take a moment to really sit with it, to listen, not to external noise, but to your inner thoughts, your heart, and your spirit. It may not feel comfortable at first. Many people struggle with silence because it forces them to face themselves, their thoughts, and their emotions without distraction. But it is within this stillness that we find clarity, allowing us to see our lives as they truly are. Are we filling our days with noise just to avoid confronting deeper truths? In those quiet moments, you can cultivate mindfulness, something that the busyness of life rarely allows. One of the beautiful aspects of Buddhist teachings is that silence is not seen as a void, but as a powerful tool for introspection. The great philosopher Lao Tzu once remarked, "Silence is a source of great strength." What if this quiet time is the strength you didn't realize you needed? Instead of drowning it out with distractions, you might find solace in using it to practice meditation, mindfulness, or simply deep breathing. You can create a rhythm to your day that celebrates the peacefulness of solitude. Perhaps the quiet is urging you to be more present, more mindful of the beauty in the little things, like the way the light enters your room in the morning or the sounds of nature just outside your window. But tell me, what have you learned in your moments of solitude? Have you given yourself the grace to appreciate the quiet, or are you still trying to outrun it? Remember, the silence that may feel like a curse at first can slowly transform into one of life's greatest blessings, if only you allow it. So instead of fearing the quiet, how can you welcome it? How can you use it as a tool for personal growth and peace of mind? Thank you for joining me today as we explored the important truths about living alone as an older person. I hope these insights have offered you both comfort and practical tips for embracing solitude with strength and wisdom. If this video has resonated with you or sparked any thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, share it with others who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more content that guides you through life's challenges with grace. Be sure to turn on notifications so you never miss an upcoming video. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and keep growing.